Shaheen, a Democrat from New Hampshire. Senator Shaheen, thanks so much for being with us. I know this isn't your hearing today, but this op-ed that we just got from Dr. Menares accusing Secretary Kennedy really of a deliberate effort to weaken America's public health system and vaccine protections. That's coming from someone who ran the CDC, that was nominated, Senate confirmed, had vast Republican support. What do you hope comes out at this hearing today?
Well, I think people are going to want to know from Secretary Kennedy what scientific basis, what data he has that he's basing decisions on, because clearly that's what's going on at HHS under his leadership, is the scientific, the medical data that should be driving our policies is totally being thrown out. And as the former director said, decisions are being made based on partisan, stacked information. And that is not good for the health care of the American people.
On the subject of health care, on an issue you've been working on, I think, very closely over the last several weeks, many people may not be aware that expanded tax credits for ACA, for Obamacare, expire at the end of this year. What impact will that have? Well, they're going to be aware very soon as they see the information coming through from their insurance companies about what's going to happen to their health insurance rates. We just got back a report that we had requested from the Georgetown University Center on Health Insurance Reform. And what they say very clearly is that the expiration of those tax credits that have been so important to people mean that rates are going to go up the highest that we've seen, the biggest increase that we've seen in a decade. And the people who are going to be most affected are older Americans, working families, people in rural areas, those people who can least afford those premium increases. And what's happening is that people who are healthy, who are going to, because of the changes in President Trump's big, beautiful betrayal bill, as I call it, make it harder for people to enroll in the health insurance marketplace. So those healthy people are going to decide they're not going to enroll, and it's going to mean that sicker people are left in the pool, risk pool. That's going to drive up premiums for everybody. So it's creating a huge issue, and we need to fix it. We need to extend those premium tax credits. What has been the response from Republicans in the Senate? I don't know if you've been in talks with Republicans in the House as well, because it would need to pass both chambers. One of the president's pollsters, John McLaughlin, actually wrote an op-ed where he said that this is a real threat to Republicans in the midterms if these tax credits expire. Well, I hope they're hearing from their constituents that they don't want to see their health insurance rates go up, and that they're going to be willing to do something. We've talked to a number of our colleagues who have expressed an interest, but they're worried about what the White House and President Trump says. Senator, you are the ranking member on the Foreign Relations Committee. I know you've been watching what's happening between the United States and Russia and Ukraine very carefully. I think Vladimir Putin has blown through another deadline set by President Trump to go to the table and meet with President Zelensky. What do you think the current status is of peace efforts in the Russian invasion there? Well, President Trump has now allowed Vladimir Putin to blow through 7 deadlines that he has set since he came into office. And he's continuing to allow Vladimir Putin to play him. The most obvious example was at the summit in Alaska, where he got virtually nothing from Vladimir Putin. And what we've seen is more people killed in Ukraine because of President Trump's failure to act on something that he said he was going to be focused on. The only thing that Vladimir Putin understands is strength and pressure. We need to fund the Ukrainians in terms of the military hardware they need. We need to provide the support to help them keep going in this fight. We need to pass the Graham-Blumenthal sanctions bill that has over 80 sponsors in the Senate to really put pressure on Russia to come to the table to negotiate a peace deal. One very quick question of parochial interest. You are not running for re-election in New Hampshire. The guy you beat
way back, several terms ago, former Senator John Sununu announced that he's exploring a run as a Republican there. What do you think of the possibility of the former senator getting in the race?
Well, the people of New Hampshire will decide who they want to support in that race, and it's going to be an interesting election year.
No doubt. Always is in New Hampshire. Senator Shaheen, thanks so much for being with us. Appreciate your time this morning.